Welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn more about elements and atoms in the context of the periodic table. Well, by doing this, we will classify elements as being either metals, nonmetals, or metalloids. And then we'll also learn how to locate the different groups on the periodic table, namely the alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, transition metals, the halogens, and the noble gases. So the periodic table consists of over 100 different elements. Now here I've just represented the first 86. There's another set of elements that we will talk about a little bit later. And you can see that it's organized based upon its metallic character. And you can see that for the most part, the metals are on the left side of the periodic table, and the nonmetals are on the right side of the periodic table. The one important exception to that is hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first element, and it is frequently shown on the top left-hand side of the periodic table. However, sometimes you will see it shown here just to the left of helium above fluorine. The metalloids consist of a handful of elements, and they kind of straddle that transition in between metal and nonmetal. Now, let's talk about their characteristics. Elements which are metals usually are solid at room temperature. They tend to be shiny and malleable, which means that you can bend them into various shapes. They also are good conductors of heat and electricity, which is why you see them used in the wiring in our homes and in lots of different electronic devices. Nonmetals, contrasting that, can be solids, they can be liquids, or they can be gases at room temperature. And some cases they can be very, very hard. Diamond, which is made up of carbon, or they can be very soft, like sulfur. And they tend to be very poor conductors of both heat and electricity. And the metalloids, as I mentioned, they kind of straddle that position in between the metals and the nonmetals. They also have properties that are between the metals and the nonmetals. So they tend to be moderate in terms of their conductivity, in terms of their ability to be folded and bent into different shapes. And most of them are actually solid at room temperature as well. Now, the periodic table is organized in such a way as to provide us with key information about the elements. And we'll go into more depth about this later. But for now, what we want to do is we want to recognize what the different groups are and the rows and the groups. So first, let's talk about the rows. These are called periods. So a row runs from left to right. They're called periods. These correspond to what are called electron shells, which we will discuss in detail in a later video. We also have groups or families, and that's what the columns are, the vertical columns going up and down. And these groups, these families, just like a family has a family name, these columns also have family names. And this consists of the alkali metals, the alkaline earth metals. We also have the transition metals, and then another group of halogens and noble gases. And you want to be familiar with these different terms. You'll see them in the textbook. You'll hear them in other videos. And just in general, being able to classify elements into one of these categories can be helpful. And the reason for that is because elements that are in the same group, they're in the same family, tend to have similar properties. They will behave similarly. In fact, if you would like to find a very amusing, interesting video, you can look up a video where people are putting the alkali metals, this first group, into water and seeing them react. And they start out being very, they react a little bit with the water. And then as you go farther down a group, they become much, much more reactive. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.